Welcome back. It is the Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM, and joining me on the line to talk about what is the worst rental affordability crisis that we're seeing in some time here in Australia is someone that we had on the airways recently. It's Maiy Azize, and she's the spokesperson for Everybody's Home. Maiy, good to be with you again. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Great to have you back with us, Maiy. Now, firstly, just bring us in on the background to this. So we're talking about the rental affordability snapshot. Just firstly inform our listeners as to what that is exactly.
A snapshot is an annual report that looks at listings, rental listings that are advertised online on a sample weekend every year. This year it surveyed 46,000 rentals across the country, and it looks at how affordable those listings are for different households on low incomes. So it looks at 14 different households on low income.
So we know that there's a cost of living crisis. This is being spoken about in the national conversation continually. So we can't sort of, pretend to ignore that that's not something that people are pretty well versed in by now. But as far as this complete crisis goes with regards to getting some rental properties as a low-income earner, what are the main obstacles in place right now?
Well, the snapshot finds that there are just no affordable listings for people on low income. For a person on job seeker, 0% are available. For a person on a disability support pension, it's 0.1%. Person on the age pension, 0.4%. So there's virtually no affordable properties. And the snapshot also looks at people who are on the minimum wage. And for people who are on the minimum wage, affordability has crashed to less than 1% of listings being affordable for a full-time person on the minimum wage, and that's the first time that's ever happened. So the big obstacle is just that there aren't the affordable rentals out there. And one of the big contributors to that is this huge shortfall we have in social and affordable housing. We've got a shortfall of 640,000 homes right across the country, and what that means is that people who are in really severe rental stress have absolutely no prospect of getting a home. The people who are eligible or on really long waiting lists. And for the rest of us, it means that there's a lot of competition for the cheapest rentals that are out there.
And that competition can't be helped by the fact that you've got such a waiting list as far as it stands already for properties that aren't even most suited to those who are low income earners. It's just such an issue for everyone to get into a rental right now. So obviously that provides a whole different set of headaches to people as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we know that when people can't find a rental that they can afford, a lot of them end up in rentals they can't afford. We talk to people all the time who are spending, 70, 80% of their income on rent. Some people are so wiped out from paying the rent that they need to get into debt to pay their bills. They need to borrow money from friends and family. They need to get help from charities, and they've got nothing left for food to feed themselves. They've got nothing left to deal with an emergency. They've got nothing left to get transport. And for people who are in the absolute worst situations of all, they're pushed into homelessness. We know about people who are spending months couch surfing with their friends, sleeping in their cars, sometimes even sleeping in tents because they've got nowhere else to go.
That whole dynamic that we have with, particularly in regional Australia where there just are no places to rent at the moment, people sleeping in their cars, these are even people with families. Do you feel as though that picture's being painted strongly enough for those who are in metro areas and the everyday Australian to actually be across?
I think for a long time there's this story that we've been told that regional Australia is cheaper than the metropolitan areas. But what we've seen is that the rental crisis has just spread everywhere. And of course, we know that rentals, even if they are a little bit cheaper in regional areas than they are in the cities, then there aren't the jobs for people to do. So no one's doing well out of this. And for a long time, we thought that the people living in big cities like Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne were the biggest losers. But now we're seeing that there are absolutely no winners in this rental crisis.
Yeah, very much a catch-22, that's for sure. Now, as far as the federal budget budget goes, we've been hearing the drums loud and clear as to the various pressures of cost of living and how it's affecting everyday Australians in so many different ways. Do you feel as though virtually, there's no way that the government can ignore what it is that the Everybody's Home campaign is essentially calling for to be given direct and strong attention to in the upcoming budget, Maiy?
We hope so. We hope we've made our message heard loud and clear, but unfortunately, we're still not seeing housing be prioritised above things like these tax cuts that are coming up or the submarines that the government wants to buy. We have this huge shortfall, 640,000 homes, and we're just not seeing any serious action from the government to really fill that shortfall. We've actually got 40 organisations across the country who've signed an open letter to the government calling on them to fill that shortfall, start taking action on it in the next budget. And we know that there's enormous demand for that right across the country. Just today, a poll came out from the Australia Institute saying that 80% of Australians want the federal government to do more.
Now, we've seen recently in South Australia the announcement of a $232.7 million investment in public housing, which has been unveiled. And of that scheme, 103 public housing properties will be made available to the South Australian regions. It's something, but I dare say not enough, Maiy.
It is something, you're right. It's great to see that governments, especially new governments, right after they take office, being interested in doing something about housing. It's good to see. The problem is that what we're seeing in South Australia and all over the country is these small piecemeal efforts as opposed to a really serious big plan, a national investment to end this 640,000 home shortfall. So it's a great step from the South Australian government, and I think the key thing is that we'd like to see more. We'd like to see them build on that.
Maiy Azize, the spokesperson for Everybody's Home, really appreciate your time on the Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM. I'm sure we'll speak to you again at some point soon. All the best.
Thanks so much.